How's she going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampy's Workshop. Well, this is part 2 of our series of replacing the wall panel, the piece of sheathing here in the shop that got damaged when I took my flue down. So let's get at her. So I have my red tuck tape now. I'm going to tape over all these little holes and whatnot that I made to try to make it, try to save that house wrap as best I can. Well, couldn't find any Tyvek, but I found a piece of this. It's underlayment for roofing. It's not Tyvek, but it'll block wind, and that's what I'm kind of interested in. So I cut a piece, and I'm going to put that right in here.
But it's not the same kind.
No, I know. It's all ahead. So I'll put a piece of paneling over it and you'll never notice.
Oh, okay.
For the amount of tape I'm putting on this, I could have just taped over this hole. Anyway, I guess that's going to have to do it. Okay, so now what I have to do is figure out the dimensions of all this space. So the first thing I like to do is make a sketch of what it looks like. Check to see if this side's square. This side should be. Yeah, okay. So now that I know that that top right corner is square, I'm going to base all my measurements off of that. So my panel is 96 inches, and I know that this top right corner is square. So I need to know the width at the top, how far down to this little kick out, how far the kick out is, and then how big it is at the bottom, and we should be able to determine that measurement by having those two. And also we need to know this measurement and that measurement. If we know all that, knowing that that's square, we should be able to lay that out on the new sheet, cut it and fit in there just like a glove. So let's check some measurements. So originally I said I want to get this measurement here, but in fact I want this measurement, 62.5. Alright, now I want to get this measurement here, and then this measurement here. And then that'll give me what this offset is. And then I'd like to get that measurement and that measurement. Right, so I want to get this measurement now at the top, and then at the bottom of this offset, and then back where it kicks in again, get that measurement, and then the one at the bottom. Alright, this is my panel, and you see the bead marks here. They're every 8 inches, I think. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, yeah, every 8 inches. And because of that, this is the bead starts right at the edge of here. So that means there is a left and a right side to these panels. So I need to have the right side of the panel up here. But like I showed in my drawing, this corner here has to be a right angle, but it's not the factory edge corner. The factory edge corner is going to be cut off because of this offset. It adds a little complexity to the whole thing. So what I need to do is, because the factory edge cuts right along the edge of the bead, I have to take this point right here, and say from now on that's going to be my factory edge. So I want to follow right down this bead here, and I want to come down and make my first measurement, which is 25 1/8 inches. If you can follow all that, it's good for you. 25 1/8 is right there. Okay, so I want to make a mark right here, right down the edge of that bead, And then, this is where it gets kind of squirrely. I'm going to cut over here 31, or measure over here 31 1/8. 31 1/8 brings me to here. And down at the bottom of this first cut, that's 31 1/2. 31 1/2 to there. So with these marks, I'm starting to establish what would be the left-hand side of the panel. Just extend them down a little bit. Going down that far is not, I don't think, a real mortal sin, but I'm going to assume that that's straight down that far. And then I need to make this at 32 1/2 from that mark I just drew. 32 1/2 will bring it to here. Okay, so now you can see how this offset is coming into play, right? Alright, now the next mark is down 62 1/2 from the top to get the bottom edge of this piece here. 62 1/2. So by making that measurement, I can establish this as the edge of the panel. Just extend that up a little. From the factory edge, from my new factory edge that I'm going to create, back to here, that'll fit. So as they say, measure twice, cut once. I'm just going to go around back again and verify all my measurements and then verify them all again in the panel. I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to cut this freehand too. The notches on the saw, the center notch here, if I can keep the line right in the center of that, it should be good. Make sure I don't cut my sawhorses in half. Okay, wish me luck. Okay, let's cut this one. All right, let's see just how close this fits. Okay gang, I cheated. The first time I cut this panel out, it didn't fit. You saw that. It was terrible actually. Well, I made this joint here as tight as I could get it. And I had another sheet of paneling that I was going to cut, but the sheets cost a lot, so I didn't want to bother cutting that up. So I have a piece of trim that's going to go across here that's going to cover that joint. And then what I did was I just cut a piece of wood to fit in here to fill that massive gap that I measured wrong. I measured it twice and still cut it wrong. Hard to believe, but I did. And also some of the wood chipped away here, but I'll cover that with paint. In fact, if you notice, this joint right here is quite a bit of red tape showing through that because it's not very tight at all. I'm thinking what I'm going to do after I run the bead of caulk down this seam in the corner, I might just put a trim board right down there. And trim boards, as we all know, they were only invented to cover mistakes. So that's going to be it. I'm going to nail that off now. And then all I have to do is put my controller for my solar lights back in place and paint her up. And put the trim boards on, of course, to cover all the mistakes. So I've got the trim on, and it covered up all those ugly mistakes I made. And I got my little controller here for the cupola lights back in place. So the only thing left to do is paint, but I'm not going to paint yet because to get the paint out and all I need to paint the whole barn, so I'll just wait on that. There's already kind of a primer finish on this panel, so I don't have to worry much about that. So there it is. So there you go, we changed that panel out there. It was a little bit of a job, but I was pleased the way we got it cut out. Didn't damage the house wrap any, and I was able to put a patch over where the flue hole was, so it all turned out good. I made kind of a bonehead mistake when I was cutting it, but I was able to fix it. And that's part of doing projects. Like, don't get turned off about doing projects just because they don't turn out exactly the way you want them, or the way, you know, Mike Holmes does them. Because Mike Holmes, he's got a whole crew behind him and he takes multiple takes. I only take one take, and if it doesn't work, I just try to fix it up. And besides that, that's why they make trim, eh? So you can cover your mistakes. That's what trim stands for. Well, I don't know what the letters stand for, but trim stands for cover your mistakes. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I appreciate everybody watching. It's just so nice that there's so many people out there that'll take some time to watch my videos. So thank you very much for doing that. And if this is your first time on Grampy's Workshop, thanks for dropping in. I'm sure glad you did. How about hitting the subscribe button? Give me a thumbs up. I like getting thumbs up. And comments too. Comments are great. So in the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, and we'll talk to you.